Hi, this is Professor Chicagoalmose. I'd like to talk today about race and names of groups. Black people or African American people seem to have problems with what they are called. And there was an opportunity in the 60s when they started changing the name Negro to black, because this group of people, who we'll call blacks, wanted to be equal to the whites. So if the whites are called whites, and they wanted to be called black, it kind of makes sense. And they also wanted to become African Americans, which many of them felt they were. Well, the problem is that to identify people by their skin color is inherently racist. The word white in itself is racist. Or even calling you could call people Romanian Americans, which I am, but I've never been referred to as that. So my question would be, why would black people want to be referred to as African Americans? That's not the issue. The white people we're referring to and the black people we're referring to, they're all Americans. So that's my opinion who they should be referred to. To differentiate them by skin color doesn't make a lot of sense. You could differentiate people by socioeconomic status for economic reasons, if you want to talk about a group of people. But it's almost like nonsensical to differentiate them by skin color. When the blacks had the opportunity in the 60s to change the name of Negro to black or African American, I think they might have missed the boat, no pun intended, because they should have been called. They should have been chosen to be called white, if anything, to show that they were no different than the so-called white people. I mean, if you have a choice between being called American or being called white when everybody else is called white, being called white is preferable. Being called black sets yourself up for discrimination. So I have a proposal. I think that the terms white and black, in terms of referring to ethnic groups, should be eliminated. It should just be changed to Americans. We're all Americans. Now, if you want to talk about specific groups, then talk about significant groups in a significant way. You want to talk about people who are educated to a certain degree, that's significant. Whether someone's got a PhD or not, perhaps, then talk about PhD. You don't talk about black PhDs. If you want to talk about poor people, talk about poor people. You want to talk about fat people, talk about fat people. But to call people by their skin color is like saying, oh, it's a group of people with long fingernails. I mean, there's no reason to talk about the group of who have long fingernails. Now, there is something in terms of heritage, where people come from. That's fine. Then you could talk about the people who came from so-and-so during a certain time period. But just to call people by their color, I think, is a wrong thing. Let me know what you think. Don't get angry. I mean no harm.